The Wrestler. It is morning in Mexico City. The streets are crowded. Vendors sell fruit from wooden carts. Buses move slowly through traffic. Somewhere in the noise, an old woman unlocks her door. She has lived in the same apartment for 30 years. She knows her neighbors. She goes to church on Sundays. She is careful with money. She lives alone. This is the story of Juana Barraza, a woman who visited old women in their homes, a woman no one suspected, a woman who killed for years before anyone understood what was happening. Juana Barraza was born in 1957 in Hidalgo, a rural state north of Mexico City. Her childhood was difficult. Her mother was an alcoholic. At age 12, Juana was given to a man in exchange for 3 beers. She had 4 children by the time she was in her 20s. She worked selling popcorn and candy on the streets. She was poor, invisible in the way poor women often are. In the 1990s, she became a professional wrestler. Her ring name was La Dama del Silencio, the Lady of Silence. She wore a red mask and fought in small arenas on the outskirts of the city. The crowds were small, the pay was low, but it gave her something, a name, a presence, even if most people did not know it. Between matches, she worked as a nurse's aide. She cared for elderly patients. She was strong, capable, trusted. She knew how to enter a home and appear helpful. She knew how to be let inside. Between 1998 and 2006, elderly women were found dead in their apartments across Mexico City. Most were strangled. Many lived alone. The homes showed signs of theft, small items missing, jewelry, religious icons, pension cards. The crimes were similar, quiet, domestic, easily overlooked. At first, police did not connect the cases. Mexico City is vast. Crimes against the elderly are common. Robberies happen every day. Each death was investigated separately. Each case went cold. The victims were old, poor. Their families had little power. The crimes did not attract attention, but the pattern continued. More women were found, always elderly, always alone, always strangled, always robbed. By 2003, police began to see connections. They created a task force. They reviewed the cases. They found 40 deaths that matched, possibly more. The investigation focused on finding the killer, but they made an assumption. They believed the killer was a man. Most serial killers are men. Strangulation requires strength. The violence seemed male. Witnesses had seen someone leaving the scenes. Descriptions varied, but most mentioned a person in loose clothing, someone tall, someone strong. Police created a profile, a man, possibly homosexual, possibly dressed as a woman to gain trust. They searched for a man in a wig. They looked for someone unusual, someone suspicious. They did not look for a woman who seemed ordinary. Juana continued. She moved through the city without attention. She visited markets. She spoke to elderly women. She offered help. She said she worked for the government. She said she could assist with pension forms. She was polite, respectful. She looked like someone's daughter, someone's neighbor. She was let inside. Once inside, she waited. She strangled the women with whatever was available: tights, telephone cords, scarves. She took small valuables, things she could sell. She left quietly. She returned to her life, to her children, to her wrestling matches. No one suspected her. The murders continued for years. The task force grew frustrated. They released sketches based on witness descriptions. The sketches showed a masculine figure, short hair, heavy build. The public looked for a man. Juana Barraza did not match the image. She was a woman, a mother, a wrestler in a red mask. She was hiding in plain sight. In January 2006, a woman was found strangled in her apartment in the Venustiano Carranza district. A neighbor saw someone leaving, a tall woman in a pink jacket. The neighbor called police. Officers arrived quickly. They saw a woman walking away from the building. She matched the description. They stopped her. Her name was Juana Barraza. She was 48 years old. She had a stethoscope in her bag and items belonging to the victim. She was arrested. She did not resist. She was questioned. At first, she denied involvement. Then she admitted to one murder, then another. The evidence grew. Fingerprints, witness statements, stolen items. She was connected to at least 11 murders. Police suspected more, perhaps dozens. The exact number is still debated. During her trial, Juana Barraza was calm. She showed little emotion. She said she had been angry at her mother, angry at her childhood. She said the elderly women reminded her of her mother. She said she wanted to punish them. Psychologists noted this. But Juana was not diagnosed with any specific disorder. She was declared fit to stand trial. She understood what she had done. She simply did not express remorse in the way people expected. The trial revealed the scope of the crimes. At least 11 confirmed murders, possibly as many as 49. The exact number will never be known. Many cases were never properly investigated. Some victims had no family to report them missing. Some bodies were found weeks after death. Evidence was lost. Connections were missed. Juana Barraza was convicted of 16 murders. She was sentenced to 759 years in prison. Under Mexican law, she will serve a maximum of 60 years. She is currently incarcerated in the Santa Marta Acatitla prison in Mexico City. She has given few interviews. In one, she said she regretted nothing. In another, she said she missed her children. She did not speak about the victims. The case raised questions. Why did it take so long to catch her? Why did police assume the killer was a man? Why were so many deaths overlooked? The answers are complicated. Gender bias played a role. Police did not expect a female serial killer. Society did not expect it either. Women are seen as caregivers, nurturers, not killers. This assumption allowed Juana to continue. The victims were also invisible. Elderly women, poor, living alone. In a city of millions, their deaths did not cause alarm. Their families, if they had any, had little power. The police had limited resources. Each case was treated as an isolated robbery. The pattern was not seen until years had passed. Juana Barraza was caught because of a neighbor, one person who paid attention, one person who called police immediately. If not for that, she might have continued, for months, for years, until age or illness stopped her. There is something quietly disturbing about this, not the violence itself, but the invisibility, the way dozens of women died in their homes and no one noticed, the way a killer moved through the city for 8 years without suspicion, the way assumptions shaped the investigation, the way an entire population of elderly women was so easily forgotten. Juana Barraza is still alive. She is in her 60s now. She lives in a cell in Mexico City, the same city where she killed, the same streets, the same crowds. She is no longer La Dama del Silencio. She is prisoner number 645. She will die in prison, but her story remains. Not as a lesson, not as a warning, just as a fact. The victims are mostly forgotten. Their names are recorded in case files. Some have families who remember. Most do not. They were old women who lived alone, who trusted a stranger at the door, who let someone inside, and then they were gone. Mexico City continues. The markets are still crowded. The buses still move slowly. Old women still live alone in small apartments. They still open their doors when someone knocks. They still trust, because what else can they do? Juana Barraza's case is studied now. Criminologists analyze her methods. Psychologists debate her motives. Gender studies examine the assumptions that delayed her capture. But for the families of the victims, there is only absence, only silence, only the knowledge that someone they loved died alone, and no one noticed for days. The story ends here, not with justice, not with closure, just with the quiet fact of what happened. Dozens of women died. One woman killed them. She was caught. She is in prison. The city moved on. It is night now. The streets are quieter. Somewhere in Mexico City, an old woman is locking her door. She lives alone. She is careful. She does not open the door for strangers. But sometimes someone seems trustworthy, someone with a kind face, someone who offers help. And the door opens, and the night continues, and the city sleeps, and the story, though finished, does not really end. It just stops, and the silence remains.